What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to the Sports Card CEO, the official collectibles podcast of Just Baseball.
Did he get another one? Oh, Gallo's on his way back. He got it! Santa Maria! Lindor again!
There it is! He did it! A 40-70 season, and a season unlike any other in Major League Baseball history for Ronald Acuna Jr.
There's a drive to right, off the bat of Evan Turner, and what a postseason he is having.
He hits this one hard. He hits it a mile to left. Mike Trout has ripped a home run.
What's up, guys? This is Mike Trout, and you're listening to Sports Card CEO with Kern, Bubba, and Ham.
The boys are back in town, fresh off of just a phenomenal show last week, guys. Just the opportunity to interview Mike Trout. What a cool dude, and just a great surreal moment for us as, card hobby enthusiasts and baseball enthusiasts. And we may have a lot of new listeners out there. So for those of you that, got a chance to listen, we appreciate you diving on. Hopefully we continue to provide some great content for you as we move forward. So kick off every episode with the round table. How the boys doing? Bubba, start us off, buddy.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm faceless today. If you're on Spotify or YouTube where you usually watch us, I am faceless because my morning has not gone as planned. I'm on vacation here in Florida, which today does not seem like a vacation. It definitely seems like a Monday here for me. I can say I'm super excited, though, from a baseball fan perspective. I'd kind of tuned out of baseball a little bit when my Braves had kind of faded away. I'd kind of not been watching like I had early part of the season. And man, these playoffs have been amazing. Just some of these games, and 15 inning games the other night. I have to give credit to MLB. It's been a heck of a playoff so far. But on Bubba's standpoint, card wise, I did actually make a purchase the other day too. I made my first card purchase in several weeks. So I guess we're going to say I'm back. When I get back from vacation, I'm going to be back.
What was it?
Get?
Oh, it was a huge card. I don't know, boys. It was not even worth mentioning on the show.
Was it like a refractor base or something from Nate George?
It was a red.
Oh, it was a red. It had some color to it.
Yeah, it was a red.
It was a red Nate George, is my guess.
I would actually guess the same. That's probably a fair. There's actually one on bids right now, I think.
Who?
Just saying.
Just saying.
Nate George. Nate George.
Hey, Georgians tonight. I am watching that one. I may make purchase number 2.
Oh, so there you go.
Bubba's coming out of quasi.
But is it Nate George purchase number 2?
Not Nate George. This would be my first Nate George if I end up buying this one. No, this would be my.
Okay.
I am still have no Nate George. And I'll say that real quick before we get going, for everybody else that's going. As I did start to dabble back into the Bowman release, because my plan was different this time than the draft release, I kind of waited this release out, and I've continued to wait it out. I was really thinking, with Kern kind of being softer on the market, myself being softer on the market, Ham being softer on the market, and multiple others, that this market release would have been really lean. And to my surprise, looking in there, it's actually not. It's actually pretty strong. The prices I'm seeing, I don't know in y'all's opinion, but it looks pretty strong, which was surprising to me.
There's definitely a lot of people in the space. You know what I mean? When you know a lot of people in the space and, kind of their strategies and stuff, and you still see what's going on, there's a lot of hands in the cookie jar.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like kind of, I don't know why. I have bought a few cards, but I feel like I'm kind of like on the outside looking in. And I don't want to use the word like wisdom comes to mind of like I feel like I'm looking at myself 2 years ago, almost like watching people overpay for certain cards, in my opinion, overpay. And it's like, I feel like I've gotten smarter from that respect, specifically with Bowman Chrome. You buy enough, you get torched at some point, especially with these guys. And I'm like kind of just like on the outskirts, letting people overpay a little bit for cards that I might want too, Maybe it'll come back and bite me in the ass. I don't know. Maybe it won't. But there's also like a lot with all this with the new parallels and stuff, and like the new international refractors that are numbered to 5, that some are inscribed, some are not. Like, I really have no idea like where that's going to play out, But the thing that surprised me the most is Shotaro Mori is the guy with the strongest sales numbers, it was the strongest market. Like, it does surprise me, but it doesn't at the same time. Like, it doesn't because it's predictable that like this, this Asian that's two-way player's going to have this market, but it surprises me because he's not close to the best player in this product. You know what I mean? So that's the hobby.
Yeah,
That's the hobby for you.
I think
Do
it's
y'all
interesting
think
too.
that's because the Asian market's dipping their toe in, or do you think
Not
it's just because
necessarily.
Shohei
I think it's
2.0?
I think it's just people kind of being like, oh, it could be Shohei 2.0, and when somebody signs in kanji, people get all excited and think value, 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 and it doesn't necessarily, like people just. In my opinion, I think people just think could be Shohei 2.0.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw the news post, but they just had a couple of big card shows over in Asia.
Yeah,
and
Macau show.
Yeah, a bunch of kind of the usual, U.S. collectors went over there. I mean, dude, what was interesting is I talked to some guys that were there. Our buddy Nick was there, and I know Roth was there, and some other folks. They basically said that the Asian collectibles market is very different. Like a lot of the folks in that culture, they collect because it's their collection. Like, they're looking to hold these, and it's like a museum piece, right? Like they have the gold Kaboom run. They have the, whatever player they're after. They're heavy in NBA, of course. And so, Shohei's kind of gotten, I think, some crossover love to the baseball market. So that could be interesting because that opens up an entire new demographic to get into the prospect thing.
For sure.
Well, the only other thing that I will share, and this is, we had mentioned it last week for the first time, and I think it's healthy, is for the first time when you look on the baseball market, even though we're in the playoffs, there's been a lot of buzz around the playoffs, for the first time the baseball arrows turned red for the first time as a whole. I think it's down 0.8%. To go back to what I said last week, I think we're going to see that number down 10% by the time we get to January, February. But then and this is just, if I was a meteorologist of the weather of the Bowman storm that is ahead, I think we're going to go down 10%, and I think we're going to go up 25% next spring. That's my prediction.
Meteorologists are never right.
Hey, that's
Good
why
point.
it's good to be a
But I hope you
meteorologist, right? That's why it's good to be a Bowman meteorologist.
I love
I'm not
it.
saying I'm right. That's just my
No, I
prediction.
love
So
it.
I'll put it out there today. I'm saying we're going to go down 10. We're going to go up 20 to 25% up in the spring. So what's you guys' prediction?
Yeah, I'm with you actually. I think we're definitely going to see kind of a stalemate here in the off season. The question is how big's the rebound going to be? That's the only piece that I don't necessarily know. But yeah, I definitely think we're going to be flat for a moment and down for a moment.
Yeah, I'm not a meteorologist, so I'm just gonna let that one be.
All right, boys. So I will say this: Ham House is in the throes of it, man. We have got my twins came down with pneumonia over the weekend, and man, I got 2 sick kiddos on breathing treatments right now, just trying to get well. So it has been a bit of a crazy moment. We all traveled to the card show in Charlotte, which, by the way, shout out to Wes and his team with their promotion group that puts on the Charlotte Card Show. That show, guys, no joke, Gary, it was 3 times better than Atlanta.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't quite a Dallas kind of feel, but I mean, getting that direction. I mean, you had Grand Slam there, you had Sappies there, you had Blaise representation there. I mean, there was a lot of really nice, folks in the room to kind of make some things happen. We went up for the show and got up there, and man, the kids got sick. The twins got sick. So little Matt and I, we worked for like 6 hours on the show floor and then turned it right around and came home and then had to go get some chest x-rays for the boys. So, it's been a bit of a heavy moment for us, man, just processing through sick kids and trying to get through the day. But on the card front, we were able to liquidate kind of our final Bowman that we were not going to hold into the offseason, which was really nice. We were able to trade some kind of blue and low numbered, not low numbered, but like PSA 9 stuff into an orange Kevin McGonigal. That was a nice pickup. And we were able to pick up a couple of nice Michael Jordans heading into, the off season. And then the card that I am probably most proud of in our collection right now, we picked up a 1933 Sport Kings Gum Jim Thorpe PSA 4, which is just, it's really cool, man. Just to see
That's
it on
cool.
the shelf. It's just super, super cool. with Thorpe certainly being the first Native American to win, gold at the Olympics for USA, and just the legend that surrounds him with the mismatched shoes. And, my dad even said, dude, Jim Thorpe was Bo Jackson before Bo Jackson was ever born. And he was just a great athlete. So that was super cool, man, to pick that card up. But other than that, man, yeah, little Matt and I, we've been kind of doing the same thing, looking for opportunity within the space and just sitting and almost like Kern, like you said. I will say this. I think the CEOs are aging like fine wine. We just get better with age, baby. We just get smarter and you get better with age. That's just part of the process. So that's it for us. What about you, Kern?
Well, I don't know about that because the other day I coughed so hard. I was sick for like a week and I coughed so hard that I blew my back out. So I don't know about that age comment there.
Welcome to 40.
And, yeah, exactly. I've had back issues. Like I had surgery in 2019 and, this is like unrelated to that. I mean, once you have back issues, you have them forever. I mean, I was just coughing too hard standing up and it's hard for me to get up now. I'm like a few days in.
So are you in a wheelchair? Are you in a wheelchair right now?
No, I'm not in a wheelchair, but like I'm like an old man getting up from the toilet. Oh my God, forget it. I'm like, oh,
you need some rails.
Yeah, it's really bad. Like I could use a cane.
So your wife is just waiting on you hand and foot right now. You're like a king, man.
Nah, she's not waiting on shit, dude. She's like, toughen up. Stop complaining.
I got plenty to do than deal with you.
Yeah. From a card front, I've made a few purchases, a couple trades, nothing crazy. With Chrome, I'm kind of just like, I'm over Chrome kind of. I don't know if I'm going to buy more. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. There's, again, no players and like that are just doing it for me. I'm just going to kind of at this point wait till either I see something that is a can't miss opportunity, or I'm just going to wait out the market until it crashes even more from this 25 Chrome pricing perspective, at least, because it will. They've already started to, as you can see. Like Elian Pena purples. I'm not that I'm buying purples, but they were doing, I did hit one. They were doing like 400 when I hit it. And now they're doing like $130. So like they're crashing big time, So I'll just wait that out.
Well, that said, boys, before we dive into this Three Kings thing, which this is going to take up a lot of margin, I just wanted you guys to comment on the Mike Trout thing, because I still look back on that. And I had people that don't listen to our podcast at all, just popping in, just going, man, that was phenomenal. Like, Kern, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think it was a surreal moment to be able to have Mike Trout on, like I am fortunate enough to, consider myself friends with Mike at this point. And it's still surreal to me that I get to talk cards and baseball with him on a daily basis and almost kind of become immune to it. But like when you realize, that we were able to have him on our podcast, which, we're 43 episodes in now, I'm proud of us for being able to, accomplish what we've accomplished. And we're not, we're not where we want to be yet, but we're just having fun. Right. But like we were able to have on Mike Trout on this show. And I think that's quite an accomplishment for us three to be able to, have him on and have a successful interview with him of a guy that doesn't do long format interviews like that. So it was a really cool experience to kind of get inside Mike's brain.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely one of the coolest moments that I think I've had on the show, no doubt about it. And then really like my sports life, to be able to talk to Mike Trout and talk baseball with him about really the game of baseball and the swing and how the game is played. I mean, to me, just really just baseball gold there that he shared with all of our listeners, and something that I can go back on with my kids for a long, long time and go back and just re-listen to, because he shares so many nuggets about not only you can apply to baseball, but about life in general. I really, I think I told both of you this, I don't do that often in moments in time when you're doing something really cool. You don't really get to enjoy it in that moment like you should. And somewhere near the end of that interview, I really just kind of got giddy and was just like, man, how cool is this that we're doing this. So huge thanks to Mike for coming on the show.
Man, just so surreal. I think all three of us, Bubba from the baseball perspective, like me with the kids, just pinching myself. And, for you, Kern, as a friend, that was just super, super cool, man. So
really cool.
Again, shout out to Mike, and really appreciate his time. All right. Now let's transition, Kern, into something that is a hot topic for some within the hobby space. And again, I'm kind of vicariously living this through you as a friend and an observer and all this different type of stuff. So that said, I will let you introduce this concept of the Three Kings. And then what we have done is we have actually clipped some of the responses on social media so that we can talk about them as a podcast, as a show, because quite frankly, dude, this has absolutely blown my mind. So why don't you kind of tell our listeners what's going on, what went down, and introduce the Three Kings concept, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. So Topps introduced the program. And what the program is if you are to collect a player's top 3 cards, their Bowman First Super, their debut patch, and their Topps Chrome Rookie Super, you basically unlock, a redemption, we'll call it, of the Three Kings card, which is basically the card that encompasses all 3 of those cards from an image perspective. And it's a 1 of 1, and it's signed, and it could be inscribed. In this case with Junior's inscribed it to Kern the King. And on the back, it has a nice little explanation of what it was. Now, in my case, one was kind of the launch of the program per se, right? Like you could call it the marketing piece to introduce it. Now, there's been a lot of hate on it, and a lot of comments, a lot of support from people that I know, but also a lot of hate on Topps, which they'll hate on anything. Topps could cure cancer and they'll hate on it. But that, this is collusion, that they told me about this and about this how did I know about this program prior, and a day later, I already got the card. Well, I mean, use your heads. I mean, that's my style of collecting. Like I've had the pieces to Churio and Caminero for some time now, way before this program was probably even a thought in anybody at Topps' head. And I think they've probably made note of my collection and how I collect in those top 3 cards. And somebody came up with that idea. And I got a call sometime in mid-September, early to mid-September, saying, hey, knowing I had these 3 cards, hey, we want to get you out to Tampa. Can you get there on Tuesday? And we'll get you out there. I said, sure. I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know about this program. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I made myself available. They said, bring the 3 cards of Junior Caminero with you. Fine. So this was kind of that is why I got this when it was announced, or before it was announced, is because this was kind of like the marketing piece, clearly, to introduce the program. There's been a lot of, I guess, controversy on the program, and that it's for rich collectors only and high-end collectors, and how do you not reward the normal collector? But most importantly, as some of you, I just want to address real quick, and then we can dive into it, as some of you kind of probably saw from my Instagram story last week, there was some, I'm Jewish, okay, from New York. I'm a Jew from New York. Am I a religious Jew? No, I'm not. I'm not conservative. I'm not, I'm a Reformed Jew. But there was I woke up to a comment the other day, somebody saying something anti-Semitic. And, I want to be absolutely clear that there's no place for that in the hobby. The hobby is built on passion, nostalgia, stories, and connection. And it brings people together from all different walks of life. The moment hate enters the picture, whether it's anti-Semitism or racism or any kind of discrimination, it doesn't just hurt individuals, but it poisons our entire community here. And if you do truly love this hobby, then you have a responsibility to protect the people in it. That means calling out the hate when you see it. It means creating spaces that everyone feels are safe and welcome and respected. We don't gatekeep based on identity. We celebrate diversity. We should celebrate diversity, I should say. And that's what unites us, the love for cards and the memories that we have growing up collecting. So anyone spreading that kind of hate towards anybody in this hobby, I'd say my message to you is that you're not part of this community. And everyone else, let's keep being positive and showing up for each other and supporting each other, because there was a lot of support. Not that I needed it, but it's appreciative. And there was a lot of support for when that hate came my way. I'm not saying I'm a victim here, right? But let's just make this a space that we're all proud to be a part of. There shouldn't be any hate in this space. So I just wanted to get that out of the way and say that. And I appreciate everybody's support.
Yeah, we want to give you the space to be able to share that too, man. Like, it's important for you to be able to have a voice in this as well. And, certainly respect your thoughts there. And, definitely something for us to dive into and chat. I mean, that's what this podcast is about, right? Is creating an opportunity to, share in the hobby together and learn from it and be able to address things that come up like this.
Kern, I know I texted you and Ham about, one of the comments that came in, and the way that it makes me feel, not only because, Kern, you're a great friend of mine and just a great human being, but it made me just want to meet that guy in a dark alley somewhere. It really did. I mean, I just had all this anger rolling through me when you see this crap. Because what I don't understand is, what is the point? Why is somebody out there, and you really have to think about it for that moment and go, are these people this unhappy that they have to go and attack somebody that really did nothing? In Kern's case here, that did absolutely nothing whatsoever. And it totally blows my mind when you see people like this. It really, really does, because it's absolutely pointless. And Kern, I'm just definitely Ham and I are here to support you through this. And I don't understand it. I really don't understand the hate when there's a guy that all Kern has really done in this space is been an ambassador to the space. And so we're here to support you, man, through this. And anybody that wants to challenge that, just go ahead and message me as well.
I appreciate it, guys.
The interesting piece too is, guys, is, one of the things that I'll say kind of like universally is like the emotional instability of the world right now is really, really, really eye-opening. Like, there is just a massive amount of emotional instability on behalf of many, many people. And, there's all types of things, whether you can blame, the cell phone thing, right? Oh, you're at a distance, and so it's easy for you to hide behind a screen and throw this shade out there, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I've gotten accustomed to blasting people on, X or Twitter or Facebook. So now I'm comfortable that I can go say whatever I want, wherever I want. But like, these people are making these comments like publicly, you know what I mean? And it's just crazy because it just shows one of the things is that I've always taught my boys and tried to live by this myself. Like, if I am triggered emotionally, if I'm upset, the very first thing that I need to do is look in the mirror and ask myself, why does this bother me so much? And again, it seems to be that a lot of this is rooted in jealousy, in greed or anger, and just pure visceral reactiveness, man. It's crazy. So what I wanted to do is I actually screenshotted some of the comments on a public post that we can kind of go through here together. So for those that are watching this, you'll be able to see it on the screen. For those that aren't, I'm going to read some of these comments, but this is the kind of stuff that happens. So I'm going to play this and we'll be able to see it together. We'll comment on it. All right. So this is Junior presenting this to Kern. And here's the comments. So you got to own $50,000 worth of cards to get a $1,000 card. Some CEO tech bro, podcast investor bro wins again. Yawn. People replied to that guy and said, do you say that to every time you see someone in a sports car drive by? And then somebody said, did they make out later? And then somebody said, it'd be nice if they tried to do something like this for the average collector. If you own 3 supers of one player, you're spending a ton of money, whatever, to get to the wax. Hey, Tops, I have all these rookie cards. Make a program for me. Give me a break. What an awkward encounter. At least pretend they were your kids. This just rubs this in the face of other collectors. This is precisely what the hobby doesn't need. Dude wants to totally sleep with Junior. What a heartwarming story about a rich guy who already had 3 cards that most collectors have no shot at.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And it goes on. And I was pretty, like, I edited some of this stuff out.
Yeah.
Right. And, some people are blaming this on the whole thing that happened with Skeens, right?
Yeah.
And blah, blah, blah. So, boys, here's the thing is, let's talk about this. Like, let's literally talk about this.
One of the comments that I pointed out was on Instagram. Collusion. Kern's feels like a Topps industry plant. Crazy how he had all these cards before Topps announced his King promo, right? Any little birdies whisper this was coming to him and his confidants? I'd guess so. Would have been cool if this card went to an actual fan.
Because you're not a fan.
I saw a lot of that, like an actual collector or an actual fan. It's one thing to have an opinion on the program itself, right? And say I don't like this program. Here's why, right? In a succinct, non-crazy way. But I will say, I know that there's going to be jealousy and haters out there, but what the program is yes, it's geared towards higher end collectors, right? But it doesn't mean that there's other programs that they have that are geared towards lower end collectors or mid end collectors. And how do you know that this is not the beginning for another program that's going to come for the lower end collectors or the mid end collectors? How do you know that there's not another program in the works for completing a rainbow? Like, how do you know that? You're just jumping to conclusions. Now, this program specifically, I don't understand how it changes anything for anybody. All it is incremental added value to these cards. I get the argument of it's going to increase the box prices. Like, this program alone is not increasing box prices. For the guy that breaks and can't necessarily afford to buy these single cards, how it helps you is maybe you hit one of these cards and somebody has 2 of 3 of the 3 kings and you could hold it hostage for $100,000. And if they want to pay it, great. You're the lucky one that gets to hold it hostage. Like, it doesn't change anything. It just, like, I don't understand it, how it affects their world.
So, Bubba, you have any thoughts on this? I have a few questions, but we can just dive in.
Well, I do. I mean, I think at the end of the day, and this is a phenomenal end to season 1, guys. And I think this is a great moment to kind of hit on this. So we've done 40, this is the 43rd episode. We've done 43 episodes, and we started as 3 buddies that wanted to have a show that talked sports cards and shared a little bit about our story and how we do it and who we are and what we are. We've been very open with that every week for 43 weeks about our life, who we are, what we've done. At times been so open that it's actually cost us money and it's cost us deals and it's cost us things in the process. And what I can say now through 43 weeks, and it's something that was only going to make us stronger as we go into season 2, is that we've all now seen, I've seen it, and y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. The 2 of y'all on this show, y'all seen what happened to me in the last 43 episodes and people targeted me on this show. You saw the backlash of what happened with the Curry card and what happens in that community. And now here it is on Kern. And the reality is, boys, and this is something that just, hopefully this is what we do for ourselves through this. And hopefully some listener, are we going to impact all those guys that made those posts that are in their mom's basement, that are unhappy with their life?
Right.
Absolutely not. Are we going to impact them? Most likely not. But what I will say this, I hope this impacts somebody's life, because I have seen this now in my 39 years, be 40 in May, that when you covet somebody else or you covet something else that somebody has, it will destroy you. Mm-hmm. And I've seen it time and time again. It's one of the 10 commandments, and it says it in the Bible. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male, female servant, his ox, or his donkey. And in this case, that's 100% what it's coming from, Kern, is that you've built this name in the hobby on stuff that you've worked on. You know, anybody else could have said, you know what, I want to be the Superfractor King. I want to be the guy that wants to come in and I want to buy, but you are the one that had the plan, that had the decision, and that people are now trying to mimic. And all this really comes from is someone coveting something that you have. And so at the end of the day, all I can say is that from here on, we just have to block the noise in this space, because there is so much trash. When you go to any card show, just look around. There are some really, really good people trying to get in it, but there is some trash that is in this space. And what you got to do in this space is you got to live and you got to surround yourself with the people that we want to surround ourselves with, because there are a lot of fleas in this space that want to hop on. So that's pretty much all I got to say about it.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. You know, one of the things that my parents always said to me is argue with a fool and onlookers can't tell a difference. And another mentor of mine gave me a picture one time. He said, you know, imagine if there's this little chihuahua behind a fence and it's just barking at you, you know, that you just keep walking. You don't sit there and look at the chihuahua and argue with the chihuahua and tell the chihuahua how small and stupid it is. You just keep walking. And so, you know, in this case, you know, you've got a lot of that going on. And like you said, boys, when you put yourself out there, when you put yourself in the spotlight, you know, you create a bullseye situation and people are going to want to target that and they're going to want to attack and all that kind of stuff. And that's part of it. Like, whatever. If people want to spend their time doing that, I don't have energy for that. But here's an honest question. It's an honest question for our listeners. It's an honest question for you three. Why are you even in this hobby? Why are you even in the hobby? Why are you doing this? If it makes you this mad, why are you doing it? if it creates this much angst and negative energy for you or whatever, if it does, then why are you doing it? You know what I mean? Like, really look at yourself in the mirror and say, like, why am I doing this? And one of the things I'm excited about as we head into season 2 with the podcast, I think we're going to focus a little bit more on backstories and what got us in, and a little bit more of a personal side to, this and some of our interviews and stuff. And like, the thing is to think that, somebody who sells cards shouldn't be in the hobby. Like, that's a thought out there. There are people who think that, if you sell cards, then you're not a collector.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, who wrote that rule? Is that in, page 25 of the hobby handbook that you wrote? You know what I mean? Did you share that publicly?
Yeah.
Like, my point is everybody has all of these little nuanced ideologies
Yeah.
about the way that they approach their collection. But this is a hobby. You know what I mean? I'm going to say one more thing is I raced triathlons for 5 years. Don't look like it now, but I used to, and I was in pretty good shape and was pretty competitive. And there were people that literally would race it just to finish, just for fun, right? There were people that wanted to be the most competitive and qualify for this and this and this. And that community didn't look around and shame other people for whatever reason they got into the hobby for. The only thing is, hey, don't cheat when you do it, right? Do it honestly, do it respectfully, put your time in, work hard. Don't go, oh, he beat me because he weighs 20 pounds less than that. Whatever, man. Like, that's kind of like my thought here is just really dig deep and look at yourself in the mirror and think about why you got into it in the first place. And if it's not bringing you joy, maybe it's time to move on. So, Kern?
Yeah, no, I think one of the things to answer your question, one of the big first things that comes to my mind is the community is what keeps me in here. Like the small community of people that I am in touch with on a daily basis, including you guys, but another smaller group that keeps me in here. Like I talk to you guys in a smaller group more than I talk to anybody outside of my family, and that's what's enjoyable about it to me, about talking about the market. Yes, I love collecting cards and I love sports and I love being able to watch who I'm collecting, but being a collector and wanting the value of your cards to go up can both exist.
Yeah.
They're not mutually exclusive. If you don't want the cards that you're collecting to go up in value, you're an idiot. Like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Like, if you want them to just sit there and go down in value, or you don't care, like, okay, fine. There's nothing wrong with collecting, but wanting your cards to also go up in value. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't mean that you are less of a collector than anybody or anything like that. The other thing that I always kind of get that, a kick out of is, oh, of course you have money. You could, if I had that money, I could have all those supers as well. Guess what? You can't. I promise you, you can't.
Yeah.
I promise you, you cannot. Yes, I have the financial means to be able to make that happen, but I also put work into acquiring each of those cards. And for me, when I say work, it means acquiring them at the right price, because I do want them to go up in value, right? Like, I am building relationships with breakers, with individuals. I am getting them from the ground up. Like, I'm not just buying at top of market. If that card even does come available, like, I'm seeking these things out. So I'm not saying it's hard work, but like, I put time into it. You can't just go out there and buy everything you want and still want to make money in the hobby. That's what I'm trying to say.
Everybody uses the word the hobby.
Yep.
It actually should be called the business, because it's a business.
Yeah.
And in the business world, it's nobody. You can have all the opinions you want in the business world, but the bottom line is you cannot. It's somebody else's decision. Kern spent his money. I spend my money. Ham, you spend your money. And when we buy it and when we sell it, it's completely our decision. Whether we take a loss or we make a gain, it's completely our decision. Whether we make a great buy or a horrible buy, it's completely our decision. And in all these other cronies that want to go out there and have an opinion, they can do that. They can go on their message boards and do that. But it's not changing the fact that it's still your decision how you collect and when you sell and when you want to sell, because it is a business. It's not a club. It's a business. If it was a card club and you join that card club and you say you're never going to sell said card because you're in the club, that's different. This is a business, and everything that we're doing now, the difference is we all do it because we also want to have fun. right?
Yeah.
But the reality is so many people now have made this their life, their livelihood. This is not just, I mean, look at the amount of people at card shows. That's what they do every single weekend that are not only just the people that are buying and selling these cards, but to sell the products that are in the business. This is a huge, huge, huge business now.
Yeah.
I mean, when Fanatics got in this, it was already huge. It's just gotten bigger and bigger, and it's not stopping. And so the people that have been around for 30 years that are looking for the old boys club that's been there, those days are done.
Yeah.
And if they want to still live in the old boys club, they can. But the new day is it's a business, and the people that are the smartest and that are the sharpest will win.
There's something to be said for tradition, right? And the way things have been or the way things are. And like there are certain values that don't change, right? Integrity being one of them, But everything changes, man. The nature of the world is changing. There was a constituency of people who probably raised a lot of hell that there were cars on the streets instead of horses back in 1902. And they're like, I am never getting into these stupid automobiles. It's going to end the world and I'm going to keep riding my horse. You know what I mean? The reality is you've got to be willing to kind of adapt a little bit and understand that the market is changing. The hobby, the market, the business, as Bubba said, and it is attracting a certain demographic, and that is a higher net worth person who's looking to secure assets in something that they can follow. And whether or not you like it or not, that doesn't change the reality of it. And then there are businesses that are being built around helping people acquire those cards. And so you can sit here and you can blame rich people, or you can blame repackers, or you can blame brakes, or you can blame all this type of stuff. It doesn't change the fact that that's where the state of things are. So you either have to adapt and figure out how you work your way into that. Listen, dude, there are people who go around to daggum yard sales and they pick up collections and they sell them for $1 on eBay. Good for them. They enjoy doing that, right? I mean, I'm not gonna call them stupid, but they don't turn around and call somebody stupid for buying a card for, whatever, 5 figures, 6 figures, etc. So, dude, it's a long conversation, but I think, well, I like what you said earlier, man. Like, we put ourselves out there this year, and while we have seen tremendous success on this show, being able to interview Evan Carter, Travis Sikora, Connor Griffin, Jack Caglione, and then leading up to, Trout. I mean, it's just, among others, Mike Mahan coming on, it's been incredible. But with that has come some of this nonsense, and so it's not going to deter us. It's not going to stop us, but we're also not going to be afraid of having honest conversations about it.
Yeah, no. And I don't want this to seem like a bitch fest. Like I'm sitting here sulking and upset. Like I'm smart enough to know that there's jealous people out there, and I can also block that out, right? But the reason for the discussion was it seemed like an abnormal amount, and it was the comment that I posted on my Instagram that really kind of triggered this subject, everything. Right? And it kind of took it to a different level because it was like this really cool experience for me, and it was kind of soured by that comment, because it kind of was like there's no need for that, and That's kind of what triggered this conversation.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Rhett Lauder. I wanted to give a shout out. I was naming the guys that have been on the podcast. I forgot Rhett.
Yeah.
Rhett is the man. He's going to have a good year as he comes back next year.
Have y'all seen the movie The Pursuit of Happiness?
Oh, yeah, dude. I got a cool story about that. Go ahead.
Have you seen it, Kerm?
I don't think so.
The one with Will Smith and his son, Jaden. He's basically... He basically, long story short, he's got this little box that he carries everywhere with him. Back in the 80s, it's a true story. This guy, he was tired of he's a super smart guy, but he never went to college, and he had a son with this lady, and he was trying to make it. And he got in and he put everything he had into these bone density scanners. We're supposed to be the next biggest thing behind X-ray. Well, these things were these big clunky things. Well, it wasn't happening. Wife ends up losing him. He's stuck with this little boy, his son, just alone. They're stuck alone in this room. They're one night they're in the subway. I think they're in San Francisco, stuck in the subway of San Francisco. I mean, it's just a phenomenal movie. My point is this, though, that this guy he put his eggs in that bone density box, right? And there's so many people that are putting their cards in the card space. They're putting literally their money, they're putting their life, they're pushing their chips into the card space. All three of us are carrying our own bone density machine right now in cards. We put our money there. We put our money where our mouth is. And my point is, this is what the American dream is all about. Being able to get in something that you're passionate about. Most of us, most people in America, 90-something% of people hate their job. And you get to go do cards and you get to go enjoy it. You get to go and say, you know what? I've got some money that I'm willing to put over here to try to make my life better. And I also want to enjoy doing it. And for me, when I got into this space, it's 100% what it was. I love baseball, but I enjoyed spending the time with my kids and said, I can do this and also put money at work to try to better my life even further, right? That's why anybody does that when they invest in a business. And that's what's so cool about this space. And when you think about the pursuit of happiness, that's really what cards is. If somebody's getting in that space, they're pursuing something. It could be more money. It could be more enjoyment. It could be meeting new friends. It could be seeing new places. It could be any of the above. And to me, watching that movie last night puts it all in perspective, because that's really what the title of Cards should be: In the Pursuit of Happiness. And what that happiness is for each collector or businessman or whatever may be a different definition. And it's nobody else's decision to decide that but your own.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. That's so good, dude. And a great, great movie. I got it confused initially when you said The Pursuit of Happiness. There's another, it was a movie with, is it James Gardner, who played in the show Maverick? He's the older guy with the kind of gruff, whatever. I think it's James Gardner. He died a few years ago. Anyway, it's called The Ultimate Gift. And he's a wealthy billionaire and he doesn't want to leave his money to his family. So he leaves his kids this challenge to like accomplish these 10 things, like show me integrity, show me generosity, show me this. And it's a beauty. But the guy that actually helped publish that movie or get that movie written was the guy that helped me self-publish my book, Redefine Rich. And so I'm pumped about, having the opportunity to talk a little bit more about what's behind the scenes for the three of us, because I know we all have like a lifetime of experiences and wisdom to bring to the table. And hopefully our listeners will benefit from that, as it applies to the thing that we love. But that said, fellas, I want to kind of go ahead and put a bow on, this show. As we've mentioned, we're going to be kind of moving into season 2, which is going to be same concept, and we'll be navigating the off season. There's no baseball to talk about after, of course, the playoffs. But that said, one of the things that we've put in front of us is this road to 100K. We thought it would be a good opportunity for us to start talking about getting into the space with $1,000 to kind of, talk about, hey, it's not just about people that have millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars. We'll start with $1,000 and let's figure this out. And we got that road to 100K off, but then the market that we were kind of into was some conflict or whatever. So we're going to definitely pick that back up. But just wanted to give you boys a chance to kind of talk on anything before we wrap up today's show today.
Well, I think we should do a refresh of, picks from baseball and do picks again.
Yeah, where we are now.
Yeah.
So so American League.
We got Blue Jays, Mariners. Mariners are up
Jays.
1-0 in the season.
Yep. And then we got the Dodgies and the Brew
Crew. Yep.
So I had Mariners, but I had Phillies. Kern, who'd you have? You had Yankees all the way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I was saying refresh.
Bubba?
I had the Blue Jays going the whole thing.
So you're still in.
I still stand Blue Jays going the whole way.
Solid pick.
Yeah. I think the Mariners are going to do it, though. I really do. I think they got this destiny thing on them, man. They got this thing where it's like you can't escape it. But that's just me there. What about Dodgers and the Brew Crew? Who you guys got?
Man, I really want the Brewers to win. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for them. I just see the Dodgers doing it again.
How do they beat the Empire? The Dodgers, when they take the field, it should be the theme from Star Wars, the Death March or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going Brewers.
That's what I'm rooting for. I want the Brewers. My brain tells me Dodgers.
Yeah, I think Brewers and Mariners would be so good for the sport, man. Mariners would be the first Super Bowl. I mean, Super Bowl, first World Series appearance for that squad.
Yeah. I think the Mariners and either the Mariners or the Blue Jays would be awesome. And like one of them is going to make it, obviously, but I think both teams are great for baseball to have in there. They're you know what I mean? And that's why I think it would be great for the Brewers to be in there too.
Yeah.
So Brewers or Jays or Brewers or Mariners, I think would be great.
Yeah, it'll be good to see it come down. But to your point, Bubba, it's been exciting baseball, man. Like, it's
Awesome.
been ridiculously good. And to see some of these young pitchers step up, like
Yeah.
Mizrahi and, you know what I mean, Cam Schlittler and, Savage, that's been really neat too, man. You're starting to see some icons. Ben Vlad has established himself, as just a absolute stud. Cal Raleigh last night stepped up to the plate, with the big bomb. So anyway, it's been a lot of fun, boys. Well, guys, thank y'all for listening. We're wrapping up here today. We addressed some very direct and personal things with this whole Three Kings thing, and certainly Kern support him in that. So appreciate you guys continuing to follow, and most of you that follow the show have been supportive through all this. We appreciate it. We're going to continue to be here and bring great content to you guys. So, boys, any final thoughts?
My favorite part of the baseball playoffs: no ghost runner.
Love it.
Love it.
My final thought is just has to do with the two things you mentioned. I'll hit on them really quick. Road to 100K is we're going to talk. That's will not die. That was an idea that we came up with. It will not die. We've seen a lot of the comments and people say, "What's happened?" The reality is, if you want to make 100K, you don't try to do it just for the pod and then go lose $1,000 or 2,000. I mean, this is not the right time with baseball already down 1%. So we're trying to be smart. We will be buying in the off season. We will come out next spring and we will make 100K. We will do this. I feel confident in that. And the second thing with the next season is I'm just excited to share with you guys kind of like we've really opened up every week about who we are. When we look at season 2, that was our goal from the start, to be real, but just to kind of peel the onion even back on all three of us a little bit further, and hoping to bring some other guests on and kind of peel back the story. Like we talked about, there's so many different stories in the hobby, how each person got there. They're usually not the same. So excited to kind of share that series as we get going into season 2. But just again, to share your sentiments, Matt, from every week, season 1 has been beyond what I think any of the three of us could have dreamed of when we set out to do and what we could have done in first season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, incredible experience. Wouldn't do it with anybody else, boys. I appreciate you both. For our listeners, thank you guys for sticking with us every week and for being a part of the Sports Cards CEO. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.